There's a village in the mountains of Japan where something extraordinary happens every single day that modern medicine completely overlooks. An elderly man named Takeshi wakes up at dawn. He's been alive for 107 years. He doesn't take any medications. He's never had a heart attack. He's never experienced cancer. He moves through his day with a flexibility and mental clarity that would astound doctors trained in Western medicine. When journalists ask him about his secret, he smiles and says something that sounds almost too simple. I listen to what my body is actually asking for. That moment sparked a journey of discovery that would eventually reveal something hidden inside every single human cell, something that could literally add decades to your life if you just knew how to activate it. I'm Dr. William, and welcome to the Healthcare Workshop channel. Today, I want to walk you through one of the most profound biological discoveries of recent decades, a discovery that connects an ancient Japanese tradition, groundbreaking Nobel Prize-winning research, and the actual mechanics of how your cells decide whether to repair themselves or slowly decay. This isn't theoretical. This isn't wishful thinking. This is hard science backed by laboratories across the world. Imagine your cells like a factory. Most of the time, this factory is running production mode, constantly processing incoming materials. But what happens to all the damaged equipment? What happens to the broken machinery? What happens to the waste that accumulates on the factory floor? In most modern bodies, the answer is that waste just accumulates. It builds up. And over years and decades, that accumulation becomes what we call aging. It becomes disease. It becomes decline. But there's another mode that this factory can enter, a maintenance mode, a deep cleaning mode. When the factory enters this mode, something remarkable happens. The workers stop producing. They stop processing incoming materials. Instead, they become maintenance crews. They identify all the damaged equipment. They identify all the waste. They identify all the components that no longer work properly, and they systematically remove them. They repair what can be fixed. They recycle what can be recycled, and they rebuild themselves stronger than before. In 1988, a Japanese scientist named Yoshinori Osumi was staring at yeast cells under a microscope, feeling frustrated. He'd been trying to understand something that other scientists thought was a waste of time. He wanted to know why cells sometimes seem to eat themselves. It sounds bizarre, right? Why would a cell consume its own components? Other researchers dismissed him. They said he was investigating nothing interesting, just garbage disposal, nothing more. But Osumi had an intuition that something deeper was happening. He designed an experiment. He took these yeast cells and he starved them. He removed nutrients. He created stress. And then he watched under the microscope as something extraordinary unfolded. He saw cellular structures he'd never witnessed before. Tiny structures that moved through the cell like cleaning crews, like maintenance workers. They were targeting damaged cellular components. They were wrapping them up. They were breaking them down. They were turning them into usable energy and building materials. He'd discovered something the scientific world had essentially forgotten. He'd discovered autophagy, self-eating, the cellular cleanup mechanism. Here's what makes this discovery so revolutionary. This isn't something rare. This isn't something that happens only in special circumstances. This is something that every single cell in your body is capable of doing. Right now, today. But almost all of us have somehow shut this system down through our daily habits. This is the cornerstone. This is where everything converges. At the same time Osumi was making his discovery, something else was happening halfway around the world. Researchers were studying populations in Okinawa, Japan. They were trying to understand why people there were living so much longer than everyone else, why cancer rates were so much lower, why heart disease was so rare, why these people were aging so differently. What they discovered was that the Okinawans had accidentally been activating this cellular cleanup mechanism continuously throughout their entire lives. They were doing it through their eating patterns, through the timing of their meals, through the way they moved through the day. The pattern was consistent. Okinawans finished eating by early evening. They didn't eat again until mid-morning the next day. That gap, that extended period without food, that created the exact conditions needed to activate autophagy. While their cells were getting this extended break, the maintenance crews were clocking in. The cleanup was happening. The repair was happening. The regeneration was happening. And this was happening every single day. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. A researcher named Renzo Gotti was examining the digestive systems of thousands of people. He was looking at colons. He could predict someone's overall health just by examining their digestive tract. The people eating modern processed diets, constantly consuming food throughout the day, had digestive systems that looked damaged, aged, worn down. But the people who practiced extended fasting windows, who gave their digestive systems time to rest and repair, had digestive systems that looked decades younger. The tissue was healthier. The cells were more vibrant. Everything looked regenerated. When researchers started digging deeper, they found the reason. When you're constantly eating, your digestive system is always in processing mode, always working, always stressed. It never gets a chance to activate its repair systems. But when you extend the fasting window, when you give your digestive system a break, something shifts. The cells lining your intestines start their cleanup process. The liver starts its deep detoxification. Your entire system shifts into repair mode instead of processing mode. Let me walk you through exactly what happens inside your body when you follow an extended fasting protocol. This is the timeline that researchers have documented. Hours 0 to 3, your digestive system is processing the last of your food. Your blood sugar begins to stabilize. Your insulin levels begin to drop. Hours 4 to 8, your stored carbohydrate energy, what we call glycogen, starts to deplete. Your body begins transitioning toward using fat for energy. This is when cellular cleanup mechanisms begin awakening. They're preparing to activate. Hours 8 to 12, autophagy is now awakening significantly. Cells are identifying damaged components. The first waves of cellular repair are beginning. Your immune system is strengthening. Growth hormone is beginning to increase. Hours 12 to 16, autophagy reaches peak activation. This is maximum intensity cellular repair. Your immune system is significantly enhanced. Your body is eliminating damaged cellular components that would otherwise trigger inflammation. Brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which supports memory, learning, and protection against cognitive decline, increases substantially during this window. This is when the deepest healing happens. Hour 16 onwards, profound cellular regeneration accelerates. Your stem cells become more active. DNA repair mechanisms intensify. This explains why the communities that maintained extended fasting windows preserved such remarkable mental clarity well into advanced age. They were literally rebuilding their brains and nervous systems on a daily basis. But here's the critical part that most people miss. The foods you eat when you do eat matter enormously. The Okinawans weren't just fasting. They were eating specific foods during their eating windows that enhanced the autophagy process. They were eating what we now call polyphenol-rich foods. Compounds in these foods actually amplify the cellular repair process. They act like accelerators on the cleanup mechanism. Look at what they actually ate. Purple sweet potatoes form the foundation of their diet. These aren't just carbohydrates. They contain compounds that regulate blood sugar and maintain low insulin levels, essential for keeping autophagy activated. Bitter melon, a vegetable that tastes extremely bitter, was consumed regularly. That bitter taste comes from compounds that directly signal your cells to enter repair mode. Seaweed, packed with minerals that support detoxification and cellular communication. Leafy greens in every color imaginable. Legumes, fermented foods like miso that contained beneficial bacteria supporting gut health and cellular signaling. They weren't eating these foods accidentally. These foods were optimizing the autophagy process. There's also something fascinating about how they consumed their meals. They rarely rushed. They would spend extended time eating. They would chew thoroughly. This wasn't just about digestion. This slowed down the speed at which nutrients entered the bloodstream. This prevented sharp insulin spikes that would send a signal to shut down autophagy. The meal structure itself was designed, whether consciously or through generations of evolution, to maintain the conditions optimal for cellular repair. One particularly fascinating element was their tea ritual. Many Okinawans would spend hours slowly sipping tea throughout their day. Jasmine tea, green tea, special local blends. The polyphenols in these teas contain compounds that support autophagy. They protect cells during the cleanup and repair phase. But beyond the biochemistry, the ritual of slowly sipping created another advantage. It provided satiation without excessive caloric intake. It practiced portion control. It kept people satisfied while maintaining the fasting window. Another discovery emerged when researchers looked at movement patterns. The Okinawans didn't follow gym routines. They didn't do structured exercise, but they maintained continuous low-level movement throughout their day. Gardening, walking, tending to daily tasks. And it turns out that movement during the fasting window significantly amplifies autophagy activation. When muscles contract during fasting, they send metabolic signals that accelerate cellular cleanup. The combination of extended fasting plus consistent, gentle movement created what we now understand as the optimal environment for cellular regeneration. But here's something that shocked researchers even more. Younger Okinawans who abandoned these traditional practices and adopted Western eating patterns began showing the same health problems as Westerners. Their cancer rates increased. Their heart disease increased. Their lifespan advantage disappeared. This proved definitively that the longevity wasn't genetic. It wasn't something written in their DNA. It was behavioral. It was environmental. It was the practices themselves creating the extended lifespan. This is crucial because it means you don't need special genes. You don't need to be born in Okinawa. You don't need any extraordinary circumstances. You simply need to understand the mechanism and implement the practices. Your cells are already capable of this repair process. They're just waiting for the right signal. Now, many of you are probably wondering exactly how to implement this. Let me walk you through a step-by-step approach that you can begin tonight. Start with identifying your eating window. Choose a specific time period that you'll eat during, perhaps noon to 6 p.m., perhaps 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. The specific window matters less than the consistency. Your body will adapt to predictability. During your first week, simply practice eating within this window. Eat normal foods if you need to. Don't radically change what you eat yet. Just establish the consistency. Outside your eating window, consume only water and unsweetened tea. Your body might protest. This is completely normal. Your digestive system has likely been processing food constantly. 7 days is usually enough for adaptation. In week 2, extend your fasting window by adding 2 additional hours of fasting. If you were eating noon to 6 p.m., keep that same eating window but extend the morning fast. Your first meal should be substantial enough to genuinely satisfy hunger, but not so excessive that you feel overly full. You're looking for that sweet spot of satiation. In week 3, begin transforming what you eat. Focus your meals primarily on plant-based foods, leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, colorful vegetables in every shade you can find, berries when available, seeds and nuts for healthy fats, legumes for protein and fiber, fermented foods like miso or tempeh, small portions of fish occasionally, foods with strong flavors like ginger, turmeric, garlic, and other spices. Eliminate processed foods completely. Eliminate refined carbohydrates. Eliminate added sugars entirely. In week 4, add consistent gentle movement during your fasting window. Walking, gardening, yoga, stretching, light activities that keep your body engaged without creating stress. This amplifies autophagy activation significantly. Save intense workouts for your eating window when your body has fuel available. What happens as you implement this? Days 1 to 5 will feel like adjustment. You might experience some hunger. This is completely normal and it passes. Your body is recalibrating its hunger signals. Days 6 to 14, your energy stabilizes. Your afternoons become clearer. You stop experiencing the typical late afternoon energy crash. Your sleep deepens. You wake more refreshed. Weeks 3 to 6, cognitive improvements become obvious. Brain fog disappears. Your mental processing speed accelerates. Your ability to focus improves noticeably. Your memory strengthens. People might comment that you seem sharper. Weeks 6 to 12, the physical transformation becomes visible. Your skin appearance improves. Your complexion clarifies. Your body composition shifts even without weight loss. Your energy remains steady throughout the day instead of spiking and crashing. Inflammation decreases. Joint pain often diminishes. You move with more ease. Months 2 through 6, disease risk markers improve substantially. Your immune function strengthens. If you get sick, your recovery accelerates significantly. Your blood work improves. Blood pressure normalizes. Blood sugar control improves. Cholesterol profiles improve. The cellular regeneration becomes measurably visible in your vitality. But there's something deeper happening that extends beyond the biological mechanics. The researchers who studied these centenarians discovered they possessed something modern medicine struggles to quantify. They possessed what we might call biological alignment. They lived with intention. Their days held meaning. Their work mattered to their communities. They maintained strong social bonds. They moved through life with patience. They approached food with reverence. This psychological alignment created hormonal environments that directly supported cellular regeneration at the biological level. The physical practices alone provided benefit. The fasting, the specific foods, the consistent timing, the gentle movement. But combined with purpose and community and mindfulness, these practices generated the extraordinary longevity observed. The biological foundation without the psychological foundation provides results. But the complete system, when both components are present, generates something remarkable. What's fascinating is that modern research continues confirming what these communities practiced. Studies from research institutions across multiple continents now demonstrate that time-restricted eating activates autophagy more effectively than calorie restriction alone. Research proves that during fasting windows, cellular repair mechanisms activate with precision and power. Studies confirm that intermittent fasting improves insulin sensitivity, reduces inflammation markers, enhances cognitive function, and extends what researchers call health span, not just lifespan. The immune system strengthens. The cardiovascular system improves. The neurological system shows enhanced plasticity and regeneration capacity. Everything these communities experience for centuries now possesses laboratory confirmation. The mystery has been solved. The mechanism has been identified. The path has been mapped. Tonight you face a choice. You can continue the pattern that leaves your cells drowning in constant nutrient influx, never initiating their internal repair systems, slowly accumulating damage that we call aging. Or you can activate the same cellular mechanisms that have maintained the health and vitality of these centenarians across generations. You can join a practice connecting you to thousands of years of accumulated biological wisdom. Your cellular repair systems are waiting. They're ready to activate the moment you give them the right signal. Tonight, as you consider your last meal of the day, remember that you're not just changing your eating schedule. You're awakening repair mechanisms that have been waiting, possibly for years or decades, for this signal. You're joining a tradition that stretches back through generations of the world's longest-lived people. If this investigation into cellular regeneration and longevity resonates with you, please type yes in the comments below. Your engagement helps us distribute this life-altering information to others seeking genuine health transformation. Hit the like button if you're ready to activate your body's hidden repair capacity. Share this with someone struggling with health challenges or yearning for greater vitality and extended wellness. Subscribe to our channel for additional evidence-based discoveries about human longevity, cellular health, and the intersection of ancient wisdom and modern science. Thank you for joining me on the Healthcare Workshop channel. Your body possesses everything required for extraordinary health and vitality. It's simply waiting for your permission to begin.